Good morning. It is Saturday and I invite you to spend the weekend with me. I've just been recording a video. Gosh, that took me a long time, but I've done it. And now I'm going to make some breakfast rather belatedly. What time is it? It's just gone 10:30 in the morning. So I thought I'd show you what my breakfast usually consists of. It's not a croissant day, that's tomorrow. Today's just a regular granola based breakfast. So I'm just going to show you what I do. And I always use the same size bowl. I try to regulate my portions by using a small bowl. So that's what we're going to do. And let me get a chopping board. I've had one coffee, but I am going to have another coffee in a minute. So we've got some full fat Greek yogurt. We've got some frozen blueberries. We've got some strawberries. I think they might be a bit old. Actually, I don't know. No, they're probably fine. So I'll have a few of those. So we're going to add some of those to the granola, which is homemade. And this is it here. It's kind of based on a Tim Spector recipe, but I've changed it a bit. And I'm just going to put a tablespoon or thereabouts, maybe 2 tablespoons actually. I'm trying to keep my portions down. Need to lose those last few pounds, which are proving quite tricky. I was hoping to do that before I went to London before my birthday, but that didn't quite work out, unfortunately. Using the same spoon, I will get some yogurt out. That'll do. I can never resist licking a spoon. So, I'll put a few frozen blue bows, and I need a knife. That'll do. We'll cut up these strawberries, pop them in. So my day is going to pan out like this, I think. I'm hoping that I'm going to have finished the main bit of editing of the video I've recorded this morning, which is going out tomorrow, so I need to crack on by about 2:30 because I want to go to the cinema to see the Downton Abbey, the finale film. I mean, I know it's not going to be brilliant, but it'll be fine, it'll be pleasant. I was a Downton Abbey fan. It got terribly soapy after a while. I did get fed up with it, but it was attractive to look at. The actors were good and Maggie Smith was in it, of course. So yes, I'm hoping to be done so that I can go and see that. That is my plan. So I should be all right. I mean, by the time I finish breakfast, it'll be about 11:15, something like that. So there'll be some editing. Then we'll pop into town. Do I need to go into town before then? I don't know. I am going to show you the garden. So I will show you the garden. I can't promise to tell you what all the plants are, but you'll see the progress that's been made because it's a beautiful day. So I need to take advantage of that so I can show you the garden at its best, or at least how it's progressed. Got a couple of little trees in there as well, so it's looking really a lot better than it was. And then, sorry, I must stop polishing the knife. Then we'll go to the cinema, and then what will we do when I come back? I don't know, I haven't quite decided yet. And then, well, it'll be about 3, 4, 5, 6, it'll probably be about 5:30, 6 o'clock by the time I get back. So we've got breakfast, garden, and then I think what we'll do this evening is we'll have a chat about various things. So I want to talk to you about TV programmes I have loved and how difficult it is to get hold of them now, much to my chagrin. So let's have brekkie and then we'll go in the garden. So here we are, brekkie time. So good. So let me take you on a little tour of the garden. You can see how it's progressed. It's certainly a lot tidier, and I think most of the weeds have gone. But don't ask me about what all the flowers are and the plants because I don't really know. I'm not very good in gardens, but I intend to learn. So let's go. So this is a lot tidier than it was. This is, now we can actually see what's going on here, and the soil is very sandy, as it would be because of course we're very close to the sea here. So I wish I could remember what all these plants are called. I'm sure you'll all be shouting at the screen going, don't you know what they are? I'm not quite sure what all these are, but I'm sure we'll find out in the fullness of time. Now that is one of the trees that my husband planted the other day. That is, I'm going to say bay tree. It looks like a bay tree. Is it a bay tree? I hope so. I'll have to Google lens it later on and check. So we've got a bay tree. I think we had a lot of mint here, but that's all gone now. I think it went a bit wild. And these are very pretty, these purpley things, aren't they? See, look how tidy the beds are now. So the plan is to get some bulbs in at some point. There's a little old rose here at the end of the garden. Here we've got a huge amount of rosemary. Do you know, rosemary follows me wherever I go. My husband planted this massive rosemary bush in our garden in North London, and I don't know. I mean, it's nice. I love rosemary, but I don't really love a huge glob of it. And then here we've got the olive tree, and look at this lovely wiggly trunk. And then the wall, we love the wall. And then here we've got some nice ground cover. I don't know what they are, but it all looks so much healthier, and we can see what's going on, see where we can put things. Now I think the plan is to have a tree here in the middle, which I think will give us some shade, because we haven't really got any trees apart from, well, I suppose we've got a couple over there, but they're not terribly interesting, so we definitely need more trees, because at the moment all we see above here are the trees out in the street, which are lovely, but we definitely need more. So that is how the garden is looking at the moment. And here you can see the dreaded conservatory. I'm afraid we're not a fan of conservatories, so that is going to have to go. This is all part of the soon-to-be worked-out plan as to what we do with the back of the house and how we improve things and end up with more space. So the architect is coming, I think it's something like the 20th of October or thereabouts. So it'll be really interesting to see what he comes up with, because he's a very pragmatic bloke, and judging by what he suggested for us in our old house, if we'd been staying there, he's very practical and conscious of and cost conscious, which of course is very important to us. Sounds like somebody's putting their bins out already, which is a bit early. It's tomorrow. Well, tomorrow night, anyway. Right, here we are in the living room. I don't think I've shown you the living room for a little while. Not that there's a huge amount to show. But I'll tell you what, let me sit down. Oh, this is a nice picture. Isn't that a lovely painting? I think it's a Russian painting. We've got quite a lot of those because a friend of ours used to deal in Russian paintings, and so we ended up buying quite a few. This is the ridiculously large fireplace, which I think is just going to have to go. I can't see how we're going to be able to keep it, because we won't be able to do anything with this room otherwise, because that just backs onto the kitchen. But anyway, we'll see what Robert, our lovely architect, has to say. So really excited about that. Now, I can't make up my mind whether to go out now or after I've had my coffee, just in case I don't fancy going to the cinema later. It just seems such a shame not to make the most of the morning because it's so beautiful. I think what I'll do is I'll download all the video footage that I recorded this morning. Honestly, it took me so long. I don't know why. So I'll do that and see what I've got. And then maybe about 12, so in, say about 3/4 of an hour, I'll pop out. And then if I feel like going to the cinema later, I will. I haven't booked it, so it's not the end of the world if I don't go. But I'd quite like to, because it'd be nice to do something. And as I'm on my own until Monday, I might as well do something. And then tonight I've got a steak. It's exciting. I'm going to have a sirloin steak with some, I think some salad possibly, or maybe some veg. I don't know. I'm trying not to have potato, but I mean, that would be my preference, a baked potato. Nothing I'd like more than a baked potato and steak. That's the sort of meal I used to have with my dad on a Sunday when he used to come and take me out to the Angus Steakhouse. So going back to my childhood, my dad introduced me to steak. He was a steak lover. So that's, I think, how the day is going to pan out, but I shall take you with me whatever I do. Right, I'm just getting ready to go out. I'm going to put these trainers on by Marks. I've actually taken my leggings off. I've just done a video that's going out tomorrow, so Sunday, where I talk about undergarments being very important in the autumn, which they are. But actually it's so warm today that I honestly don't feel like I need them. So I've got one of my faithful Quince hoodies on and just a bra, not even an undergarment under here, literally just bra and hoodie, because it just feels very warm. I haven't checked the temperature since this morning at about 8, when I think it said it was 11, but there's no way it's 11 now. It must be a lot warmer than that. So with a brisk walk into town. My main reason for going is to get some fresh air, but the other reason is to get some fruit, hopefully some fresh fruit. There are some very nice raspberries I've seen in one of the delis. And then I also need to get some batteries. And what else do I need? That's about it, really. And have a look at the sea, because I haven't seen the sea properly for probably a couple of weeks. I see it as I go into town, but I don't really go to the beach, so I think we might do that, although I know you've seen it already, but can't get enough sea, can you? Right, I'll just get my bag. I think I'm going to take... I've got 2 of these Uniqlo bags. I don't think I've ever really talked about them all that much. I think I briefly touched on them in last week's vlog, so I've got 2. I've got this one, which was the first one I bought, and then I bought a black one. Actually, I think the brown one, not that it matters terribly, but I think the brown one will go with the Quince jumper. Right, let's get cracking. Stop waffling, Des. Come on. Absolutely boiling out there. It's got to be 20, I would say. I have to check. So I'm just going to divest myself of this jumper. And I managed to get some fruit, although I only really managed to get some decent raspberries. I think because the delis are quite sensitive to only selling local produce, so these are the raspberries. They're not bad. They're not quite as purple as I would like them to be, but they're okay. And then I managed to get some, well, spinach. I don't know if that's going to be local or not, but I'll have that. And where's the other thing? And I did manage to get some green beans, but I suspect, yes, they're from Kenya. They're not exactly local, but they will go very nicely with the steak. So I'm going to strip off and decide what to do next, because I'm still in 2 minds about whether to go and see Downton Abbey or not. It seems a shame in this weather, but then on the other hand, what am I going to do? I'm not going to sit in the garden and get a tan, am I? I'm going to probably edit if I don't go to the cinema, so I think I probably should. I just don't want to nod off during the film. Even with the reduced price of my old person's ticket, it's still a terrible waste, isn't it? So we'll see. We'll decide what to do in about an hour, probably. It's just gone 1, so we'll see how I feel about 2 o'clock. Right, I'm ready to go. Got my mango trainers on. I've changed hoodie just because I felt the paler hoodie would go better with the paler jeans. I've got my brown mango bag. This is from about 2 or 3 years ago. Do you remember when these were all the rage, these sort of banana bags, I think they called them? I really like it. It's quite weathered now. And then I'm going to get some sunglasses, got some perfume and lipstick on. I haven't got any jewellery because it's just me. And I don't think I need a jacket. I checked the temperature and actually it's 17, but it feels really strong in the sun. So I think I'll be warm enough. I've got socks on as well. And now we're going to go to the cinema and I'll give you my thoughts on it later on this evening. Good evening. It's about 10:15. No, it's not. It's about 7:15 and I'm just sitting on the sofa with a glass of wine. I got back from the cinema at about 5:30, and I did a little more editing, and now I've got my glass of wine. I'd forgotten that the first live show as Strictly is on. I was agonising over what I was going to watch, and I'm so delighted that one of my favourite shows ever, one of the most life-enhancing shows for me, Strictly Come Dancing, aka Dancing with the Stars, is on, and I couldn't be more delighted. And particularly as my husband's not here, so he won't have to suffer it because he's not such a fan. And he does watch it with me, but it's not his favourite show, shall we say. So I'm really delighted to be watching it. And they've got a really interesting, diverse selection of contestants this year. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. And I've just paused it for a moment because it's been on for a few minutes. And I'm going to put my steak on shortly, but I think I'm going to eat in front of the telly, which I know is not the best, but I'm on my own. It's fine. I'll just cut the steak up and pop it in a bowl with my beans and it'll be delicious. So I'll tell you more about Downton tomorrow when I've reflected on it a bit. But suffice to say, there was a tear in my eye at the end. And in fact, not just at the end, but during it as well. So we'll close Saturday night out now. And I'll come back all refreshed and ready to face the day. So see you then. Good morning, it's Sunday and I'm just off to buy the one croissant for myself as I'm on my own today. Husband's not back till tomorrow, so it was looking beautiful this morning, but now it's gone a bit cloudy. I hope it's not going to rain because I've just washed my hair. So I'm makeup free at the moment. I can't decide whether I'm going to put any on today or not. I may not. I may have a rest today. So I'll see, but I am going to also get some fruit if I can from either the Co-op or Tesco's. And then later on, after I've finished editing and uploading and getting my video ready for this afternoon at 3, we'll have a little chat, maybe mid-afternoon or early evening, about various bits and bobs. So look forward to seeing you a bit later. Good evening. It's been a good few hours since we last spoke, partly because, well, mainly because the editing and the uploading and the description box and all of that for my Autumn Basics video, took forever. It took so much longer. These things always take longer. Everything takes longer than you think it's going to take. Anyway, we got there. I think I uploaded, or it was all ready to go at 8 minutes past 3. 3 is the time that I like to upload on a Sunday, so really glad I wasn't too far behind my uploading schedule. And then after that, had a very late lunch and then had a sleep on the sofa, this very sofa, which is what I do every afternoon if I possibly can, not when I'm working, obviously, but that's soon coming to an end. So I had a little kip and I watched some of my favourite YouTubers who also release on a Sunday. Then I went back upstairs and had a long chat with my daughter, which was fantastic. I hadn't caught up with her properly on our own for ages, so it was really nice to have a chat with her. She's doing so well. Then I uploaded a couple of things on Vinted. And now I've poured myself a glass of wine and I thought we'd have a bit of a chat, firstly about Downton, because I didn't want to jump into it yesterday after I'd just seen it. I wanted to think about it. Now, my Downton history, such as it is I watched every single series and I did love it at the beginning. But then I found after a few series, the plot started to be a little bit more, well, not quite believable, shall we say, particularly the story of, I can't remember any of the characters' names now, but the one who supposedly killed not the butler, what's his name, who played by Brendan Cole. I can't remember not Brendan Cole. Brendan Coyle, is it? Something like that. Brendan Cole was on Strictly, wasn't he? Anyway, the Irish guy who plays oh my gosh, what's the character he plays? It's not the butler, it's the guy who works for Lord Grantham. Anyway, Brendan Coyle, I'm sure that's what his name is. So he falls in love with, is it Rose, who is the lady's maid, and they have an affair, I think, or something, and then the first wife appears and then she gets run over. It all seemed too far-fetched. I can't remember exactly what happened, but one series ended and then the next series it all seemed to have been forgotten about. Anyway, that was a terrible ramble on. So there were some plots I didn't quite agree with, and then it got quite soapy as well, and you just thought, oh, they're just having to think up more plots. But I do think the characterisation generally was very good, and so I enjoyed the series. But then I think I hadn't realised actually there were 2 other films. This is the 3rd one. I'd forgotten that there was one. Was there one in the south of France, and then another one where a film crew comes to Grantham House, or no, it's not Grantham House, the one in the country, whatever it's called. You can see I really pay attention, can't you? But of course, one of the things I loved about it was Maggie Smith, didn't we all? She was so fantastic. And actually, they referenced one of her comments in this film, which was a little bit heavy-handed, I thought, because in one of the series, I think it's series 1 actually, someone mentions a weekend and Lady Grantham says, "What is a weekend?" Or words to that effect, which is a bit Lady Bracknell. Maybe she didn't quite say it like that, probably not.
And of course I'll have the weekend.
We'll discuss this later. We mustn't bore the ladies.
What is a weekend?
And they referenced it in the film. So I thought the script was okay. I didn't love the script of the film. It was quite long. It was 2 hours. But I was moved in parts, particularly at the end. I won't go into why, but I found the ending very moving. I suppose for me, because of my mum and because my mum took me to see Maggie Smith when I was probably about 10 or 11, I think, to see a play called The Beau Stratagem, which was, I believe, a restoration comedy. I didn't really know what was going on, but she was very good in it. And so there was this connection with her and also with Robert Stevens, who she was married to, because my mum was in a play with Robert Stevens in the early 80s, I think it was. And so all of that sort of resonates with me. And I did enjoy it for the most part. And I think if you're an upstairs, downstairs, see, I'm doing it now. I think if you are a Downton Abbey fan, you would enjoy it. There were parts of it, like that weekend quip, that reminded me of that very funny sketch that Victoria Wood wrote for, I think it was Comic Relief years ago, where, and forgive me because I don't know the character name, but the one played by Penelope Wilton, who's middle class, and of course her son inherits the title, or is going to inherit the title when Lord Grantham dies. And he, of course, himself dies later in a later series. But because they're middle class, they don't use necessarily the same terminology as the upper classes do. And in this sketch, Victoria Wood absolutely nails it by saying by making Penelope Wilton's character say when she's drinking tea at the Grantham, she says, "Oh, what a lovely lounge." And lounge is not the word you use if you are upper class. And everyone goes, "What
a lovely lounge." I'm in drawing room, obviously.
Anyway, all that to say, I think if you're a Downton fan, you will love it. If you're not a Downton fan, it's probably not for you. Now, talking of TV series and films, I know we talk about on this channel, and we've shared things in the comments about programmes that we like or don't like. I thought I would just talk about a couple of programmes that I love, one of which is absolutely not available on any platform. You have to buy the DVDs, and that is LA Law. Now, do you remember LA Law? Talk about characterisation. That was such a fantastic series. I mean, yes, it went off the boil years later, but I would say the first 5 or 6 series was so good. The acting was so good. The characters were believable. The plots were great. They all had, as a lot of American drama series do, actually. We don't do it so well here at all. But in America, I think ER was the same. There's always a comic plot, there's a serious plot, and there's a kind of moral dilemma plot all going on at the same time. And LA Law really specialised in that. It was so good at it. And all those wonderful actors like Corbin Burnson and Jimmy Smits and Harry Hamlin and what's her name? Susan Day. And then the 2 characters whose actors, I think there was Michael something, who was the little short round bloke, and the very tall slim woman who got together, that they were really great as characters as well. And then there was the comic head of the practice, who was very funny, balding, always was getting into scrapes and making bad judgment calls and all of that. And I just loved it. I thought it was a wonderful, wonderful series. Now, why isn't it available on any platform? I assume it must be something to do with repeat fees, because believe it or not, even my mum gets repeat fees, or at least my kids get repeat fees for her. So for example, she was in Prime Suspect, the first series, and she played the suspect's mum, and she still gets repeat fees. It might be 30 quid, it might be 100 quid. They're always being watched around the world. And she also gets very tiny amounts from things like Home to Roost. She was in one episode of this terrible, I thought it was pretty terrible, sitcom with John Thor. And she still gets repeat fees for that. And for things like The Saint, she was in one episode of The Saint back in the 60s or 50s, no, 60s, I think, and she still gets Danger Man. I mean, it's amazing, really. So it might be something to do with that, I don't know. And so LA Law, I think, was a wonderful, wonderful series. And then, of course, there's ER. And I came a bit late to that. I think I didn't find it until series 2. So I didn't see much of George Clooney, but I was in love with Anthony Edwards, I've forgotten his name now. Alex Kingston, actually, who interestingly is in Strictly Come Dancing this year. So she's kind of my generation. She's, I think, mid-60s. And she played his love interest for a good few years, I think. But I loved him so much. I thought he was the thinking woman's crumpet. No, that's terrible. That was a phrase used many moons ago about Joan Bakewell. If you know, you know. But I thought he was fantastic. I actually preferred him over George Clooney. He's a little bit too square-jawed for me. Now, I've only got a week and 2 days left of work. So next week it's 4 days, so Monday to Thursday. Friday I'm off because it's my non-working day. Sunday I'm going into London. So, of course, I'm going to take you with me. And then Monday is my last day at work, and then Monday evening is my leaving due. Oh, I can't believe it. It's going to be very emotional. And so, of course, I'll take you with me. But before that, on Sunday, I will be recording, fingers crossed as well, the Victoria Beckham Foundation video and the colour wash as well, the cheek colour liquid. Oh, I can't remember the name of it. The cheek one, you know the one I mean, in the bottle with the dropper. The slightly awkward dropper, actually. So that's going to be on Sunday. I'm going to record that on Friday because I'm not going to be here on Sunday. In fact, when I go into London, I'm going to get my eyebrows laminated, my eyelashes lifted. So it's going to be a busy day. Then I'm having dinner with a friend on Sunday night. And then Monday I shall go into work for the very last time. So I think we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you have, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe before you leave if you haven't already. I have a newsletter, which I promise I'm going to write at the weekend and get one sent out as soon as possible. And after that, I'm going to keep them up more regularly. So do subscribe to that if you'd like to. Thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me. It really does. And I hope you're all doing really well. And I look forward to seeing you on my next video on Sunday with the Victoria Beckham. Bye.